Dietrich and Mr. Robbie. Dietrich, you are a brown belt, and Mr. Robbie, you are a black belt, huh?
Yeah.
That is awesome, bro. That is awesome. Let's take it back, bro, all the way back to when you guys started Tap House, and then we'll go into like your backstories and everything. But when did the original Tap House start?
Original Tap House started in 2021. We were coming off of a relocation from our first startup back in Ocean City. We were trying to find a new spot, start our own thing, and we came across Attila's gym. They had an open space, and we asked if we could rent out the space. And in 2021, during the height of COVID, we opened up, took our shot, and pretty much rest is history from there.
So everything was closed down when you guys first started? Like, shops were kind of closed, you still had to wear your masks and everything, but you were like, all right, we're going to open a jiu-jitsu gym. Like,
dude, it was the perfect time, dude. It was like trying to sell ice to an Eskimo. Like, dude, it was like, I remember, like I said, I got the call from Rob. I was on the beach, and it was perfect because, like, for me, like, I was playing football at the time. That was my identity. But, like, I knew I wanted jiu-jitsu. It was like that kind of like that, like, but I didn't want to get hurt because I was playing football. Because jiu-jitsu is not like cooking class. Like, we always tell that to people, like, in like combatives too, or like, you gotta make sure like it's a safe thing, but like there's always a chance of injury. But yeah, when he gave us a call from Ocean City, we found our way over here, and then Tap House started coming alive.
So you were in Ocean City. That was your first location where you started. And what was that like? Did you have your own space? Did you have a gym? Did you have?
We were renting out a space from this like personal training studio. So we were kind of like splitting a small unit, maybe about 1,000 square feet. It was really small. Like the mat space, I would say, was 500 square feet at most.
Wow.
But splitting that with a little like weight room off to the side, that's where we initially started. And then we moved to Attila's about a year after, and we were working with the same amount of mat space, about 1,000 square feet, and then we were able to upgrade to this spot. A year in, we got a nice clientele, and now we're working with a little bit of a bigger space, hopefully moving to a bigger spot soon.
Just keep expanding. Like, it seems like every year or so you just, get a new spot and expand. As you've gotten these new spots, have your clients gone up too?
Yeah.
Like, have you gotten more students and more people coming in through the door since you switched from that Ocean City gym to this gym right here?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, starting in Ocean City, we pretty much opened the doors and like prayed for people to come in. We didn't really have a business plan. And then once we opened up inside of Attila's, inside of the gym, that's kind of when we came across the Gracie University program, the Gracie Combatives program. And that really laid out an awesome business plan for us to attract the clientele that we were looking for. And over the years, we watched our pretty much starting from 0, incrementally to 10, eventually nearing to 100 students, and so on.
Building off of that.
Yeah, building
too.
off of that.
No way. So how did you guys get affiliated with the Gracie Combatives program? Where did that start? Because neither of you came up from white belt through the Combatives program, right?
Yeah, so when we opened up here, we were looking for some kind of identity. What did we want to attract? Who were the clients that were going to be coming in the area? And the base just fit perfectly with what we had learned from Gracie University. And after a little bit of online research, we pretty much got hooked, went all in. We flew out to California in July of, 2023? Yeah, 2 years ago, July 2023. So once we went out there, we saw how legit the program was. We met Huron, Henner, and they expressed this awesome program that's really perfect for everyone. I mean, for all levels. Any beginner that's looking to get into jiu-jitsu, it's a awesome beginner program that's just easy to understand for everyone, and that's who we wanted to attract, beginners, and really make an impact getting new people on the mats. That's what led us to the Gracie University program, the Gracie Combatives program.
Wow. So when you first opened Tap House in Ocean City, you weren't even affiliated with the Gracie Combatives program. You guys were just doing your thing, you were Tap House, and then a few years into it, you found out about this program, went out to Torrance, trained with Henner and Huron, and like really realized the power of like how you can bring new students in through the program, right? That's what I'm kind of getting from that.
Exactly.
Dude, that's so cool. And for anybody that hasn't like seen the Gracie Combatives program or isn't familiar with the Gracie Combatives program, it's, in my opinion, one of the better ways to ease yourself into jiu-jitsu without kind of just get thrown to the wolves, right? A lot of gyms, and you guys, I'm sure you know this, coming up in the early days too, like you're a brown belt, you're a black belt, so you had to be training for a while. Like some gyms just throw you in on day one and you're rolling with killer purple belts, killer brown belts, killer blue belts, you know what I'm saying? And you can come in and get smashed and get, you know, beat up, and it turns you off to jiu-jitsu a little bit. But then, like with this Gracie Combatives program, is when you come in and you learn at your own pace, kind of. You know, it's a slower. It eases you in. It's like a crawl, walk, run type of thing when it comes to jiu-jitsu, instead of just getting in and sprinting. You know what I'm saying? So, if you're not familiar with the Gracie Combatives program, definitely check it out. It's a great way to ease yourself into jiu-jitsu if you're thinking about it, or if you are on the fence about whether you want to train or not. But that's like where you guys come in. So how is it teaching people who have never learned jiu-jitsu before? Like first day, second day, third day, maybe first week, first month of jiu-jitsu, and you teach them a move and their eyes light up and it, like stuff, it looks like a light bulb just went off in their head, right? What does that kind of feel like, and what's that like for you guys?
I feel like it's a similar feeling to like some magicians get, like David Blaine or something like that, where you're just like blowing people's minds, where it's a lot of times, and I feel like a gentle start to jiu-jitsu is the best approach, because you really get to understand the beauty of it, because it is an art, it's a martial art, and at the end of the day there's beauty behind it, but it's also science too. And I'm a science guy. I've always loved science. I graduated with a degree in science, and once I found out jiu-jitsu is just physics going there, if you really look at it like that, it really makes you like look at it from a whole different perspective. And the Gracies always say too, the more you understand the fight, the more you understand life. And I feel like that's such a true statement, because there's so many ways jiu-jitsu or just combat can reflect back to real life situations like math, even thinking, just stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's like with the Gracie Combatives program, you guys teach a lot of self-defense techniques too that are, you can apply to real life, right? Whereas like you may be training against an untrained opponent or fighting against an untrained opponent in real life. Whereas like a lot of jiu-jitsu gyms nowadays, it's good because they teach you good self-defense and good jiu-jitsu, but they focus on fighting against an opponent who knows jiu-jitsu. Whereas you guys start out fighting an opponent who doesn't know jiu-jitsu. So it's more of like what you'll see in the street. How do you think that helps out in like a real life situation?
I mean, well, that's the most common scenario. Like, as much as I love leg locks and butt scooting, that's not going to be the most practical thing when you get in a fight in real life, when someone's trying to punch you in the face. So that being said, the self-defense aspect is the roots of jiu-jitsu, and that's really, I would say, majority of the time why people want to learn jiu-jitsu in the first place. They want to learn how to defend themselves. Not even necessarily learning how to fight per se, but learning how to defend themselves, and that's where the Gracie Combatives boils it down to the most common scenarios that you'll see yourself in a fight. And whether it be with an untrained opponent or even a high-level opponent, you see these techniques used all the time in real-life scenarios with just regular street fights, arrests with cops, and then even at the highest level in the UFC. These are the most commonly used techniques, and it just builds a awesome understanding of the fundamentals and the roots of jiu-jitsu and what the real goal is in mind. Like when I'm training, I think like if my face can get touched, I can get punched in the face right now. So whatever style I'm playing, that's always an underlying thought in my head. Can my face get touched right now? Is my jiu-jitsu effective if this was a fight?
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's a lot of gyms don't think about that, right? They play the sport jiu-jitsu, which is cool and it's fun to look at and it's fancy if you're a practitioner, but at the end of the day, you said it, if your face can get touched, you're getting punched in the face, whether you're a brown belt, you're a black belt, you know, like if someone can hit you, they're gonna hit you, right? That's really cool. So when did you guys start out? I want to take it back to like the OG white belt days. Dietrich, I guess we'll start with you. Where did you start out? What gym did you start out with and how did you get into jiu-jitsu, bro?
So I've been training martial arts my whole life. I started Tang Soo Do early, got black belt, a third-degree black belt in that. And then I've been wrestling since middle school. That's how me and Rob actually became friends, from middle school wrestling and other sports.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
Day one homies.
Way back.
That's sick.
But I actually started, I'm probably going to be the first homegrown Tap House black belt. I started, Rob was my first instructor actually. He brought me into jiu-jitsu. He taught me an arm bar, taught me most of my jiu-jitsu, honestly. And then I started in Ocean City as a white belt. I didn't start with the combatives program, so the combatives, it's a great program. It wasn't that long. I wasn't a white belt that long ago. And, yeah, I would get submitted a ton because I was a wrestler. I'd give up my back a lot because I was like, that jiu-jitsu stuff don't work.
Yeah.
And I'd get submitted like 5 times around. And after gritting it out, and I did the combatives actually, so I was a purple belt once I did the combatives, and I got my combatives belt as a purple belt, and I was mind blown as a purple belt, like wow, like I missed out on all this white belt technique and I'm a purple belt and I didn't know this stuff.
Right.
It was crazy. So that's what really opened my eyes up to how awesome this program is, and I see like stuff they have in their blue belt course. I'm like, high level competitors are doing this stuff, and like it really shows you that it gives you different options and also to teach you different concepts of your body. But yeah, I started at Tap House and I'll be the first homegrown. So
dude, that's so cool.
cool
I did
stuff.
not know that.
Yeah.
You'll be the first. He'll be your first black belt, huh? Robbie?
Yeah.
That must feel cool for you too, right?
Yeah, he's definitely gonna be my first black belt. I mean, he started with me day one, really. I mean, when I started about like 15, 16 years old, and I really introduced Dietrich into it when I was like a blue belt. I was looking for some bodies just to get some extra training with, and Dietrich had that wrestling background, and I introduced him to a straight arm bar, and we were just arm barring each other. But then a couple years went by, and then when I was a purple belt, I had called Dietrich again in pursuit to mix up the style that we were teaching, add some wrestling so he could show his wrestling in, and that's really where his jiu-jitsu career had started, about like 5 years into mine, when I was like a purple belt. But taking him back to the beginning, when I was like 15, 16 years old, my dad had gotten me into jiu-jitsu. He's been training his whole life, over like 30 years. He's been training Japanese jiu-jitsu to start. He got a black belt in Japanese jiu-jitsu and judo. And then even when I was young, he was trying to get me into it. I had gone to a couple kids classes, but I never really got into it until about high school, a little bit after wrestling in middle school.
Yeah,
Before I even went to a school, like when I was in high school trying to maybe like size up my dad, thinking I was bigger, badder, stronger, he was like, all right, let's take it down to the mats. He had mats in the basement, and we would roll around a little bit there, and then he eventually convinced me to try out a class, and pretty much from my first day, I was hooked. And my first class was an open mat. I remember starting as an open mat, and I got beat up by this, like, I think I was 15 or 16, and it was another like 15 or 16-year-old girl, and she maybe weighed like 120 pounds at most.
Right.
And she like armbarred me so quick, about 8 times in like a 5-minute match, and I was like, what the heck? I'm bigger, I'm stronger, arguably faster.
Right.
And just that like thought of this smaller opponent can beat me up, I was like, this is exactly what I've been looking for my whole life. But that's what got me hooked. And then I trained at this gym called 609 Jiu Jitsu for about 6 years, 5 or 6 years, got my purple belt under them. Then Ocean City, 2020, I wanted to open an affiliate gym with them, and that's when we moved to Ocean City. At COVID, during the COVID times, that kind of shifted a lot of things. Like, we couldn't get a lot of training partners, and that's when the idea sprung of just starting it on my own, on our own, really.
Instead of being an affiliate with 609.
Instead of being an affiliate, I was like, if I'm gonna struggle this hard, I might as well
struggle alone.
Yeah, might as well struggle alone.
That's how real men struggle. No, I'm kidding. It's not. If you're struggling, reach out to your friends. We would rather see you crying and talking to us than in a grave attending your funeral. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you're like, I'm going to struggle alone. I don't need to be an affiliate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like,
so
I was looking at it like it would be the same kind of struggle either way. So rather than sprouting in success off of someone else's name,
right?
Get that yourself, get the glory yourself.
And you did that as a purple belt, so you were like, I'm a purple belt, like I'm a savage, I'm gonna open my own gym now.
Well, there's this other local purple belt in the area. I was jumbling the idea around for a while, so I had started teaching classes as a blue belt. I started teaching kids classes.
Nice, same.
And then I was one of the more active competitors as a blue belt, and they had me eventually teaching some adult classes, some beginner adult classes, like once a week, where I'd fill in as a substitute instructor from time to time. And then that started getting in my head, like, could I do this on my own? And that led to the affiliate program, asking to be an affiliate. And what really inspired me, though, there's this other local purple belt in the area who I seen advertise his own gym, and I was like, oh, well, if this guy can do it, he's a purple belt, I'm a purple belt, I'm pretty good at jiu-jitsu, This guy's good at jiu-jitsu too. I mean, if he can do it, I can do it.
Why not?
And that's really where the spark came from.
So then that's when you opened the Ocean City location and called Dietrich back up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then from there it was history. It was Tap House and versus the world, you know what I'm saying? That's so cool. So at Purple Belt, you felt that you felt the confidence to open your own place, and you had another homie behind you, and you're like, why not? Let's do that. So, because for me, like, eventually I'd like to own my own gym one day, whether I'm running it or I'm teaching or not. So to hear you do that at Purple Belt, it's like, maybe I can do it earlier than I anticipate. You know what I'm saying? But you guys got matches coming up now too, right? Yeah. May 23rd. Today is May 1st, I believe, right?
Yeah.
1st of May, and you guys got matches coming up in 23 days for Fury. Why don't you talk about your match, Dietrich?
Yeah, I got a tough opponent. I'm versing Nicholas Wiley. He just versed Joe Pfeiffer, the last Fury going right there.
If you don't know who Joe Pfeiffer is, Joe Pfeiffer fights in the UFC. He beat Francis Ngannou's punch for the hardest punch on the punch testing machine, whatever that thing's called, which is crazy. Francis is like 275 pounds, and Joe Pfeiffer is, I think he's a middleweight, which is unreal. But
nuts.
This guy that you're facing, what's his name? Nick Wiley?
Yeah, Nicholas Wiley. He's a definitely tough cat, black belt for sure. I'm 2-0 on Fury right now. I just beat a black belt, and it ain't nothing new. I go against black belts all the time. I'm a very game competitor. I compete in the tri-state often, so it would be fun. Expect me. I know this guy likes to come out in a singlet, so you might see the debut of the Tap House singlet come out right there.
Yo, that would be crazy. If they have Tap House singlets for sale, I might have to get myself one. You know what I'm saying? That would be really cool. What about you? You're on it too, Robbie, right?
Yeah.
You're on the card. You fought for Fury before. Talk about your match a little bit.
So this is my black belt debut. I'm going up against a known opponent. Dietrich had faced him previously on Fury, and he got the decision victory. He's a game opponent. He's tough. He's got a ton of experience. He competes all the time, but I'm looking to bring a show, really perform for my black belt debut. This is also kind of a return after some time off. I had suffered a knee injury. I completely tore my meniscus, had a partial tear in my ACL and LCL. And Dietrich's been rehabbing me. He's a personal trainer, and he works with mobility, and he's been bringing me back, getting me back to 100%. And I'm looking to show some new tricks, new strengths. I'm definitely stronger, making an exciting show, and really debut this black belt, show him why it was earned.
Yeah, man, that's exciting. First match at black belt, that's crazy. Everyone's got a first match at every belt, but like you're at black now. Like this is it. You know, it's time for you to show your skills and show who you are. You're excited for this? You feeling good?
Oh yeah.
Knees feeling good?
Knees feeling good.
That's good.
I mean, as good as it will. I'm getting old now, you know.
How old are you?
26.
26 years old, and he's getting old. Get out of here. Dietrich, how old are you, bro?
I'm also 26.
We're both 26 years old, man. I'm 23.
But in
Get
jiu-jitsu
out of
years,
here.
I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 10 years. Jiu-jitsu years are like dog years, so like 26 plus the 10 jiu-jitsu years, and looking like it's like a 96.
Yeah, get out of here. Not even. You're like 21 now. You know what I'm saying? It keeps you young, you know? So that's cool. That's in Atlantic City, right? But do you know where it's at? What casino or what?
Yeah, it's at the Hard Rock in Atlantic City. Yeah.
Hard Rock in Atlantic City in May. If you guys are around in the Ocean County area in New Jersey, go watch these guys put on a show. I know there's a great card. I think there might be a couple of people from New York City that's on the card that I know too. So watch these guys go compete. That's amazing. So after that, are you guys looking to compete and continue this year, or are you going to keep it chill? What are your plans for the rest of the year?
I'm still going to be active. I'm going to actually try to ramp it up because I've been just getting some work stuff done. But I have a match in June for Arena Grappling. I'm on their roster there. I'm always competing for those guys. I got a really tough match. I'm versing a Lions black belt. I think he's like a second or third degree from. He's gonna be. It's gonna be a very game match. And Arena, if you haven't checked out that promotion, it's gonna be big in jiu-jitsu. They do 3 rounds in a cage, and you get to really see. It's submission only, and you get to see who's really better at jiu-jitsu. And they really run it. It's a whole production. They make you feel like
3 5-minute rounds.
3 5-minute
in a
rounds.
Cage. 1 minute break in between. Sounds familiar to MMA. That's cool.
5-minute overtime round too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you could go 20 minutes of grappling.
I went 24 minutes against one of our buddies, CJ Berkheimer. He's a super game opponent. But yeah, you go for some long matches.
What do you guys think about that 3 5-minute rounds for jiu-jitsu? Do you like that, or what do you think?
I liked how CJI did it. After that kind of changed the whole game. I feel like with the whole format, even like the wall too. That was sweet. But I feel like having that, because you can have a decision right there, because there is a true more dominant grappler, because you don't want to see 2 people just stalling out for 10 minutes. Like,
right. We were talking about that earlier.
You'll have these like 10, 12, 15-minute matches, and 2 dudes are pushing each other around. I'm just watching terrible wrestling. Like if I want to do that, like I could do that like anywhere. You know what I mean?
You go to any gym in the world and there's that going on, right?
Yeah,
all
dude,
day long.
So I'm a big fan of that, because it really pushes the pace. And if you know you're down a round or 2, you need the sub.
Right.
So your whole game plan is different versus like, oh, if I could stall out till overtime and I'm better than you in OT, like. What's the fun in that? No one's really enjoying that. You know what I mean?
You think scoring it like an MMA fight too, like 10-9, 10-9, like one person gets a 10 and one person gets a 9, 8, or a 7 is good too? Yeah,
I think that's like fair. It just has to be like, unlike MMA, have people that know what they're looking at, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can't have like some dude that's like, oh, I'm just a wrestler, and once it gets to the ground, you're like you can't have that. Like,
it's like these MMA judges were boxing judges from back in the day, right? So it's like, imagine if we took like, I don't know, like karate or like taekwondo judges from Olympic taekwondo and made them judge jiu-jitsu, and they have nothing. It's the same thing, you know? It's like apples and oranges, right? That's cool though. Yeah, CJI versus ADCC. If you guys could compete in either one, which one would you do, Robbie? CJI or ADCC? If you got the offer.
CJI for sure. CJI for sure. It's a way better rule set format. That being said, though, competition's, I think, way tougher. So ADCC might have a better chance, like with the tournament rule set, but or tournament format. But the CJI, the submission only really is the most decisive way of finding who's better at jiu-jitsu. And they really elevated the game with their payout, their format with the walls. There's no stalling, no out of bounds. Yeah, the pit's awesome. I mean, I like the cage too. Cage kind of prevents the out of bounds, but with different kinds of wall grappling and cage grappling, especially with your MMA fighters and I'd say wrestlers as well, you could stall up against the cage and you can hold someone against the cage and kind of make it a more boring match where the action continues with the pit. So I really think that's like one of the most innovative factors with that format. CJI just looks fun. I've never competed in a pit, but that would just be a super interesting experience. See what kind of jiu-jitsu comes off of the pit. Like, you've been seeing new moves, people flying off of the pit walls, jumping triangles.
Yeah.
Using it to their advantage. But I think less than CJI, there's going to be like smaller scale events maybe imitating the pit walls. I think they what's it called? Copyrighted it.
Them and Karate Combat together.
Yeah, so like
Craig and
it's not going to be maybe a whole pit wall format, but maybe some hybrid pit walls, something along the lines of that.
It'd be cool if Naga or like Grappling Quest or Grappling X incorporated like industries, Jiu-Jitsu World League, but in the pit. That would be crazy if we could see that.
So sick.
I would do it for sure. I'd be down. What about you, Dietrich? What do you think? You like CJI? Craig calls you up and he says, "I want you, Dietrich," or Mo Jassim calls you up and he says, "I want you more, Dietrich."
I mean, dude, it's tempting. CJI, you get the pit, but ADCC, you get the casino floors. But I mean, obviously, you gotta go where the money is, dude. Like, at the end of the day, like, if I got offered $10,001 just to show up, dude, like, sign me up. Like, sign me up. I don't care if I gotta like get leg lock. I do that for free anyway. You know what I mean? But yeah, CJI, it's a lot of fun, and I think just having like changing the dynamic of grappling, like I would love in like the next Tap House if we had just a portion of that like slant wall just to like try like different guard, because you wouldn't even like, I couldn't even imagine like the guard moves you could do from there just from having your back up against it, or like imagine in real life like someone pushes you against a bush and you like triangle or something like
it's
that.
a real life thing. I think that's like the cage, grappling in the cage. It's pretty cool because like there's walls in real life, like, in the elevator and wherever you're at, and you could get pressed up against a wall. And it's the same thing as the cage. But no, I know what you mean, bro. Go where the money's at, right?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But that would be cool. The next Tap House, you build a little slanted wall, right? And you get a little wall pit action going on just in case. You know what I'm saying? What about, we hear this term being thrown around a lot. We were talking about it on the ride over here, Robbie. The ecological jiu-jitsu format. What do you guys think about Greg Saunders, I believe that's his name, and the ecological jiu-jitsu form?
I think I like it, but like also too, like I feel like the jargon of it kind of clouds a lot of like what it is. If you can get past like what like Greg Saunders is actually saying, like some of it's like really fun stuff and really helpful stuff. And like because I had a wrestling background, I came up in wrestling, like we've been doing stuff like that, you know what I mean? We just didn't call it ecological, we didn't know what to call it, but it was like he just kind of was like some like different styles of drilling, but like more specific.
Right.
So it's not like a positional round, because like positional rounds you get sometimes out of the position versus like how he describes ecological. But I would love to take a trip down there too, because like Standard's not too far from our spot. Actually, it's only like 5 hours. But like,
is it really?
Yeah, it's
just
not,
a drive.
Yeah. It's not too far, so it'd be definitely fun to go down there and train with those guys sometime for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. What about you, Robbie? What do you think about the ecological jiu-jitsu? I gotta say, ecological.
I mean, I think it's a really interesting approach. Like, for beginners, my thing with it for beginners, not having a curriculum and kind of like leaving it up to the beginner to learn can kind of make it, for some people, difficult. Like, some people need to be told what to do.
Yeah.
And I think most people, when they come to really any kind of personal training where there's a coach involved, an instructor involved, like they're looking exactly for that, to be told what to do. But at a certain point, I think for your more experienced grapplers, the ecological approach could be a little bit more beneficial once you don't really need that being told what to do for every move, every instance. The ecological approach really breaks down these small victories, these battles where it's not necessarily just positional sparring where you're looking for a submission, but you're looking to win these small victories. And I'm doing more research on it. I can't give a full review without really experiencing it firsthand, but everything that I have seen from it and the people that do train it, The results are speaking for themselves. The people that train it are winning. Their jiu-jitsu is looking effective at the highest level. And I mean, I like it. How to implement it is just going to be interesting to see, not just with us, but like seeing how the impact of this new kind of training affects gyms around the world. And if gyms start promoting schools start promoting their curriculums a little bit different, or modifying it at all, or sticking to the traditional drill. I mean, it's the classic quote, drillers are killers, but
someone had to say it.
Yeah. How do you drill? Like I like to think, or I like to see what Hodger Gracie's opinion on ecological training is, because he's notably one of the best ever.
Yeah.
And like what his kind of theory is on it, that'd be interesting to see.
It'd be interesting if we could have like Hodger, Henzo, Gordon, John, and like, I don't know, throw like a wild card in there, like an MMA guy like Damian Maya or something like that, all on like the board of jiu-jitsu directors, and they can like kind of discuss it on their one podcast. I'd like to see what like all of the greatest minds in jiu-jitsu had to say, and even more, like, I don't know, you could throw a bunch of other people in there in GSP, Demetrius Johnson now even getting super into the gi. But I'd like to, yeah, that's so true, bro. Like, I'd like to see what they have to say about all of it. I think Greg is probably a really nice guy and a good guy. I don't think he's the best person to be representing ecological, personally. The way he describes things is kind of confusing and doesn't really make sense, and he's completely changing jiu-jitsu terminology from what it was in the beginning to something different, which, like, it's not illegal, but that's what confuses people. But yeah, like you said, like putting constrained games and playing that in your gym could be a beneficial thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's all non-beneficial. But here, how do you guys usually teach when you're teaching, your master cycle classes, which are just like, any normal jiu-jitsu class? You come in, you teach a technique, and then you get some live rounds. And how do you guys prefer to teach? Strict drilling, or do you play games too? What do you guys like to do?
It'll mainly depend. So with our Gracie curriculum, like, we usually have each week for a master cycle different position. So this week we're doing standing. Everything is going to be involving standing techniques, whether it's self-defense related, whether it's just a traditional like jiu-jitsu takedown, guard pull, something like that. But I'll maybe sometimes like warm up like with more of a game type of thing, where it'll be like a prep drill for the move there, just to get the blood flowing, like more of a game. And then I'll get into the traditional technique. And what's really nice is like whether we're covering self-defense or we're covering just traditional takedowns right there, we always break it down in the SPF. So it's like the same way how we teach combatives, but we can teach it with just different technique going there. And then after the technique, we'll get into our live sparring or the randori a little bit, and then that's kind of usually how we do it for a master cycle going right
Traditional jiu-jitsu class, right? How about you, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, the preparation drills in the beginning of class, like, it's could vary in terms of resistance that's given. It's ultimately set as a warm-up, though, to get acclimated with whatever technique's being shown or whatever the focus is for the day. And the really cool thing about the Gracie Combatives going into our Master Cycle program, it's like a direct streamline. Many of the techniques, especially for the Gracie Combative students that are just starting with the Master Cycle, are techniques that are kind of countering everything that the Gracie Combative showed. So it's like the counters to the initial techniques that you're learning. So it starts to build off of the fundamental program. And then with different chapters involved, it allows it to keep a focus, but also change up each week depending on what that chapter is. It switches different positions. So it's a nice streamline, but it also keeps the curriculum involved from the combatives into our Master Cycle program. That being said, some of our Master Cycle classes involve more sparring. The sparring's not always like freestyle sparring, though. It would be controlled sparring, like going into specific positional rounds based on what the chapter is, what the technique focus is, and different time intervals. And then depending if we have multiple people competing in the class, we could orient it a little bit more competition style. But if it's more of a non-competition group, we could orient it back towards the self-defense. So it's adaptable while maintaining the positional focus, but also the underlying focus always of getting punched in the face and self-defense. We always bring that back if a technique works or doesn't work. Some techniques we do teach and we'll advertise it or extend that information out, like, do not use this in a fight.
This is sport jiu-jitsu.
This is sport jiu-jitsu.
Use this in a competition, but don't use it on the street.
Yeah, like, this is not a good strategy to use in the fight. We always continue to come back to that. So that's really what the roots of everything we teach go back to.
That's awesome. So yeah, you're saying basically you guys run it however you want, is what I'm hearing. You just follow the curriculum, right?
Yeah.
Which is nice, because some classes you go to, some schools rather, you go to, and you know, one day you're learning butterfly guard, and the next day you're learning an omoplata, and the next day you're learning an ankle pick takedown, and there's no curriculum. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what did I learn 2 days ago? I don't remember, because in between that I learned different moves, right? Whereas like, I like where you go, okay, today we're doing side control. We're gonna learn how to establish side control the position, and keep someone down. All right, today we're gonna advance, you know, to a whatever submission from here, or what, you know, and you're just staying Wednesdays, this type of, because there's different types of side controls, this type of side control, oh, we're doing this submission. You're staying on the curriculum throughout the week or throughout the month or whatever, so people learn a position in its entirety instead of just jumping all around and getting people confused, right? That's what I'm kind of hearing. You guys have the curriculum you stick to, but you kind of mix up the way you teach it to them.
I mean, having that curriculum wasn't really found until we started up with the Gracie program. And exactly what you said, like, at most academies, most schools, you go in and day to day, week to week, it's the lessons really determined by whatever the instructor's feeling. But having a curriculum really organizes what everyone's learning, what's being taught, and it funnels your jiu-jitsu and allows the progression to kind of go at a faster pace, because you know what you're learning,
right?
And you have expectations, where when you lose sight of what you're learning and there's no goals or expectations, it can be a little bit harder to retain the knowledge. So since finding the Gracie program and that curriculum being involved, just in that short amount of time, like, I trained about 7-8 years, and then I found the Gracie program. In that 1 year that I found that Gracie program, that's where most of my progression has been, due to the curriculum, and I was able to organize all of my skills using the curriculum.
That's awesome.
And hopefully for all the students as well. We've been seeing it, all of our students have been retaining the knowledge that way as well. The progression's been unreal. Like, if I had this at white belt, like,
you'd be like 10 times better, you think?
10 times better.
Well, that's what I want to talk about too. I'll give this to you guys, like, your chance, because the Gracie Combatives program gets a little bit of dust thrown over it in our, I don't know if that's the right terminology, but, you know, in our community. Whereas, like, realistically, it's just a good way to ease into jiu-jitsu. A lot of people say, we were talking about this too, is like, oh, I see this Gracie Combatives kid, he's a blue belt right at a competition, like, easy work, you know, like, thank goodness, like, all right, I just got to buy basically for the first round. But like, no, man, like, that's not the case. As you see, like, Dietrich's 2-0 on Fury, you know, Robbie's 1 on Fury, like, they're going out there again in May on Fury to go compete in arena. This is the highest level in jiu-jitsu. So it's like, this, I want to give you guys, like, your opportunity to kind of explain how the process is from going to a combatives only student to actually getting your blue belt and going into competition. Like, what does that look like, and do you roll before you get your blue belt and all that good stuff? So go ahead.
So people think it's such a black and white thing of like, oh, like, these guys are not letting anyone roll. They don't want them to experience jiu-jitsu and learn. No. Like, they're actually, so that's so not.
So far away.
Yeah, so, like, we get students all the time that, like, been training, live training and stuff like that. And we'll tell them, we're like, hey, we'll, like, if they, like, say if they're like a 4-stripe white belt, they've been training for years and they've been live training, we're not going to take that away from you. Like keep live training, but we want you to do the combatives as well, because you're going to see how awesome it is, and maybe how much technique, like, you might not have known, or more detail, because it's a very detail oriented class. But even if some, like, a brand new person that's never rolled day train, it's just to give them the proper tools. It's like asking someone, like, I've never built a house a day in my life, and they're like, yo, build a house right now. Like you gave me no tools or anything.
Not happening.
Where if anything, I'm probably going to get hurt building that house, or I'm going to hurt somebody else while building that house. And if you want to have better progression and actually learn, you need to have people that can practice safely, people you can trust, but also too know how to control themselves. That's what the combatives does, helps you learn how to control yourself, especially if you've never done anything like this ever. It's not gonna be just like, it's not like riding a bike, you know what I mean? It's a very, very in-depth thing, but that's where I feel like combatives gives you the tools, and we see it with our white belts now. Like, we might have, like, with how they feel at their rank, they feel like they can, like, submit belts higher than them confidently, which is really, really awesome. And it's cool to see them feel comfortable. Even at a white belt, they're like, I know some jiu-jitsu, which is really awesome to see.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Robbie, what is your take on that?
I mean, just the way the combatives is designed, like, we don't have the sparring after the class. But that being said, we don't promote not sparring. Like, a big thing just in jiu-jitsu in general is cross-training, and one thing that we do promote heavily is cross-training, and we tell our students to come with us. We tell them to come with us to these other schools and cross-train and see, put your combatives to the test, put your skills to the test, and see where your level's at, especially the people who aren't so interested in competing per se, but they want to still test themselves. They might not be able to quote test themselves right away in here with the combatives program, with the limited sparring until you qualify for the master cycle after you complete the program. But we do promote all the time, test yourselves other ways outside of here, with us too. Like, we'll go with you and tag along to any of these other gyms in the area, outside of the area, traveling and training, and many of our students do that. And there's definitely a difference between the students who don't and the students who do. But that being said, all those students feel very comfortable coming back to that slow pace, and really learning and acquiring the skills, the tools, the knowledge to then go back out and train again and roll again. It's really like, I would say, like a training wheels program to eventually feel comfortable and confident to ride without the training wheels and go in there full speed, full force. If you're not ready or prepared to feel that speed, that force, that resistance, that could really turn you away from jiu-jitsu. And that's really what the combatives to master cycle program is about. It's to get people confident to continue to train more. Like, how often do you hear blue belt quit and never come back?
Always, man. That's the running joke, right?
Yeah, and like, could that be because of 9 months to a year to 18 months of just beatings constantly, and now, like, yeah, like, you just felt like you achieved your blue belt, but now you're tired, you're beat up, and you weren't really comfortably brought into your further journey.
Sure.
Like, we're all in this to hopefully do it forever, and this is the comfortable way to practice your training that way. One of the most dangerous things on the mat isn't a black belt, it's a white belt. And
spazzy white belt.
Yeah, two white belts sparring each other could be incredibly unsafe, and we just want to build the new students' tools and build their control confidently before we apply it versus each other.
It's beautiful. You guys both use amazing analogies, right? It's like, your analogy, Robbie, was the training wheels. You don't just ride a bike and just, your parents just throw you on a motorbike and you just, from day one, right? Like, you need to start with the training wheels in the grass, and then you take the training wheels off and they're holding the seat and everything. And that's like, Dietrich, your analogy was, you don't just go build a house and someone hands you tools. Like, you got to learn how to hammer a nail in before you're going to be building a house, right? And using a chainsaw. So it's like, that's it. That's the combatives program at its finest, right? It's like giving you these foundational, fundamental movements and positional movements and an idea of what jiu-jitsu is before you get thrown in there with the wolves, where you're training against these, brand new blue belts or killer purple belts, like we were saying. So I think that's awesome. And like I said earlier, like I think the Gracie Combatives program is one of the best programs to enter into jiu-jitsu through if you're unsure about if you want to do jiu-jitsu, if you've tried it before and you had a bad experience, if you don't think you're an aggressive person, whatever it may be, try the Gracie Combatives program. Come out here to Tap House. If you're in New Jersey, in Ocean County, come check these guys out. I have a question for you guys before we wrap this up for both of you. Dietrich, Mike's hot. If you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, anyone in the world, celebrity, family member, friend, brother, sister, mother, daughter, I don't know if you have kids already, but 3 dinners, all separate, who would they be, brother?
Oh, that's a crazy question right there.
It's a tough one,
Yeah,
right?
that's-
You can take a second to think about it. Robbie, I'm coming at you next with it. So.
loaded up.
Yeah, prepare your answer,
That's
dude.
a crazy question. I have to do like a goat, so who would be someone legendary, dude? Like, all right, I'm just gonna do like a couple off the top of my head. I'll probably do like I feel like someone cool would be like Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
I feel like that'd be cool, dude.
that is a cool one. Have
yeah.
you listened to his Joe Rogan podcast?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you know.
He's a legend. He's a legend. He's a certified legend. Then like someone interested in like, I think like that dude Wim Hof.
Yo,
Dude,
Wim Hof would be
yeah.
cool too.
Yeah,
Shout out to Wim Hof.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He's a gnarly person. And then who would be the last one? Dude, there's so many good ones, but I'd probably have to do like I would say like probably like Kelly Slater or something like that.
Dude,
Yeah.
those are 3 great choices. We
Yeah.
have Aaron Rodgers, Wim Hof, and Kelly Slater. I like that. Those are 3 dudes that I would like to go out to dinner with too. All right, Rob. Your turn, brother.
The first one off the top of my head, it just kept coming back to him. The dinner might not be so pleasant. It might turn to like a exercise. Would be like David Goggins.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Goggins.
That would be an amazing experience. His books changed my life, and I follow him on social media. I'm a big fan.
Shout out to Goggins too. Who's gonna carry the boats, lad? Not this guy. Have you seen that, the Patty the Batty thing?
After Goggins, I was thinking of some like historical figures. Like I think Teddy Roosevelt would be sick. Like right after he was introduced to jiu-jitsu, like it'd be sick if I could like go in and
Pause. Wait, he was introduced to jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, so I learned this kind of when I first started getting in. I read some like jiu-jitsu origin stories, but Japan during that time, during the late 1800s, early 1900s, sent over representatives, like the samurai sent over representatives, all jiu-jitsu representatives, to spread jiu-jitsu around the world, spread the knowledge, because they had one of the toughest militaries at the time. That being said, they needed some goods, and that was the way that they were exchanging their goods, and they sent over representatives to Teddy Roosevelt. I believe, I might be mistaken, but I believe it was Maeda. Mietsu Maeda.
Yeah.
He was the representative that went to Teddy Roosevelt, introduced him to jiu-jitsu, and then in the 1920s, Maeda relocated to Brazil and went to
The Gracie family.
The Gracie family, and the rest is history from there. But
Wow.
like right around that time, right when like Teddy got introduced to jiu-jitsu, because he was a martial artist. He did jiu-jitsu, wrestling. I think he was a little bit of boxing. It'd be sick to have a conversation with him around that time, and then just like going back in time, seeing what it was like.
Bro, I didn't know. You learn something new every day. I learned that Theodore Roosevelt was a little bit into jiu-jitsu back in the day.
Pioneer for American jiu-jitsu.
Realistically,
Yeah.
though, shout out to Keenan Cornelius and Jake Shields on the AJJ
Yeah.
stuff, right? Yeah.
I got that information, the Maeda information, from a Keenan Cornelius podcast.
Really?
Yeah, he had mentioned that. Because he's big on American jiu-jitsu and the origins of that, and it really starts with Teddy Roosevelt. But then third person to have dinner with, that's a hard one. I mean, controversial before all his allegations and his time. Vince McMahon would be.
Yeah.
No.
That is better than P. Diddy. Better than P. Diddy or Jeffrey Epstein. He's like, yeah, I want to have Epstein. That'd be sweet to go on his island. No.
But before his legal issues and all his controversy, all the bad stuff he's been getting into.
The Voice.
Yeah, Vince McMahon would be sick. I've been a huge WWE fan. A huge WWE fan.
Hey, you never know. Maybe one day.
Since I was young. And that's really what got me into like any kind of wanting to grapple was WWE. I would see that these guys do these crazy moves and I'd be like, is that what my dad's practicing? But yeah, Vince McMahon, David Goggins, and Teddy Roosevelt.
Those are 3 good people right there. Both of you guys had 3 bangers. I love that, man. Robbie, Dietrich, you guys are awesome. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about while we're here,
Who are your 3?
Oh, nobody's asked me this before. Wow, nobody has ever asked me this before. All right, I'm going to go with my first one. It's going to be kind of maybe cheesy, maybe generic, but Bob Marley, bro. I definitely want to talk to Bob Marley. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what's up. Yeah. For more than one reason, right? You know what I'm saying? He's going to bring that good. Bob Marley for sure, I guess now that I'm so into it and that it's becoming a huge part of my life, maybe we need a translator. I don't know if he spoke English, but Elio Gracie would be cool.
He's in my top 5.
I was thinking
but
that too.
Teddy squeezed him out.
Did he? Yeah. Teddy squeezed him out? Yeah, Bob Marley, Elio Gracie, man, it's tough. There's probably so many people that I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but the third one, final, would be, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but Jack LaLanne. He's a health and fitness connoisseur. He's a pioneer of juicing and fruit and vegetable juice back in the day. He was a pioneer of exercise and eating healthy and all that stuff. So it would definitely be Bob Marley, Jack LaLanne, and who was the second one that I said?
Elliot.
Yeah. Elio Gracie. So those would be my 3. I appreciate you asking, bro. No one's ever asked that before. And if you haven't heard of Jack LaLanne, look him up. Jack LaLanne's juicers are good. But yeah, guys, thank you for doing this. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah,
we're in Galloway, right?
Yeah.
That's where we're at. We're at Attilis Gym in Galloway, where Tap House Gym is holding its grounds right now. You never know. You guys could be moving to a new location soon.
Yeah, hopefully
you guys are growing.
soon.
What's your address here? Do you know?
323 South Pitney Ave.
323 South Pitney Ave, Galloway, New
Galloway.
Jersey.
We're on the 2nd floor of Attilis Gym. Shout out Attilis, best gym in New Jersey. 323 South Pitney Ave on the 2nd floor. Inside of Attilis.
If you're in Ocean County, come by and check them out. And Robbie, what's your Instagram? What's the Tap House's Instagram?
I'm Black Belt Bob.
At Dietrich Scout.
And Tap House's Instagram's taphouse_Jiu Jitsu.
Hey, follow all of them on Instagram. Follow Tap House. Like I said, you guys, they're competing May 23rd. And follow them, see what they do. Yeah. You never know. We could see an MMA transition by either of these guys. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to get some training in now. Dietrich, my man, appreciate you guys having me. We'll do it again sometime. Thank you guys.